wife was sick with back and neck surgeries, and I had these little kids that I had to take care of. I couldn't even focus to write music. My mind was on my wife getting well and my babies being taken care of. And so when you put all those factors, before me, I was like, God, it's time for me to bow out gracefully and pass the baton and pass the torch. I think things will be okay without Tre9 Rapid. I've played my part, I've ran my race, and I'm done with the industry. And I wasn't done with the ministry of rap because I have hip hop hope in 12 different neighborhoods. We're constantly in the streets using rappers to reach the lost. We have DJs playing Christian hip hop. Um, I stayed in touch with Christian hip hop. I continued to foster other artists and their growth. I continued to, be a part of events and speaking and things like that. And so, but as far as me rapping, just wasn't necessary anymore. There was too much at stake. And so I said, you know what? Let me close the chapter of the door so no one calls me and asks me to do shows. No one asked me to do any features. And I had a retirement party and said, I'm done with the industry of Christian hip hop, and I'm not putting out any more records. That's how I arrived at that 6 years ago. Um, to further the discussion as to how come within the last year and a half I started recording and writing music again. Well, get this. Just look at God. I had no desire to rap again. Um, but think about it. I'm watching Houston, and I'm looking at the next generation of Christian hip hop, and I'm like, wow, there really is none. Most of the guys are in their 30s, um, late 20s, if that. And I'm like, where's the next generation of hip hop? It's dying. No one has taken the lead to foster any type of dialogue, conferences, workshops, even entertainment venues, concerts. All it is they're waiting on the youth pastors to call, or they're waiting on the next outreach, someone to call. And so I was like, there's a gap in Houston, and that community that we had is gone, and it needs to come back. Second thing, what am I going to do about funding? What am I going to do about money? So I'm on a trip, a marriage retreat with two other couples, and this rich guy says, rich guy friend of mine, he says, why'd you stop music? I explained what I just told you. He said, well, this is what you've always used to draw people to Jesus. You've always used this as your gift, and I'd hate for money to stop you. So if you want to do an album, I'll put up the money. And I was like, look, if you want a record, let me tell you about this other artist I know who would make you some money off of doing it, because I'm not. I'm it's just too far from me. And he goes, no, 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 no. I want you to do an album because I know you're gonna draw people into Christ, and I'll pay for it. I said, wow. At that point, a year and a half ago, my wife is already well. My kids are no longer in diapers, and they're no longer needing, all that attention that they used to have. Um, it made sense that God was rewarding me for letting go of that mantle, for letting go of, such a great responsibility. Pyrex had moved away to Dallas, so I don't have him here anymore, and so I was like, you know what? It makes sense that I could be given a blessing to make an album, be able to go back go into prisons with new music, be able to hit the streets when necessary and rap when there's not a rapper to fill that role. Um, and that's why I do it now. I'm retired from the industry. I am done with the industry. I'm not trying to come back and tour and sell a bunch of music. Um, I'm I'm free. I don't have no record contract. I'm not obligated to pay this money back. So I don't have to sell music. I don't have to, do that. I can just freely do it for ministry. I mean, what a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so that's why I began working a new album. Now the problem that's posed is the music has changed since
Yeah.
I left the mic.
Yeah.
So what do I do about the style change? I've had to make some adjustments. I did those adjustments. I also have some of the You know, the older Tre9 telling stories, very clear diction, and you know, I have that too. But look at this. This was the blessing that came from it that I think is great. My kids are ages 5, 8, and 11. So they're called TNT Reps, and they just released their first single and music video, you know, this past month. My daughter, who's 20 years old, told me when she was 18 that she wanted to sing. I was able to put her on 4 songs on my record, get her in the studio to see if that's what she really wants to do. And so I've been able to birth 2 new generations
Mm-hmm.
because of getting back on the mic. I have another artist named Austin Lanier. He's 24 years old that I mentor and disciple. I'm able to come alongside him and do what I did with Pyrex with him. And so all these beautiful things came out of me saying, yes, I'm going to do a record. That's ministry. That's not industry. That's all ministry. It's a beautiful thing, man. All I can do is encourage people out there that, man, listen to God. He will direct you. He will guide you. And if you have to let something die and let it go, it may be just for a season.
Yeah, it
But it's
usually
going
is. Yeah.
to make it much easier. So, man, praise
It's just that
God.
it's just that fear, man. We talk about that all the time, man. It's like you have to kind of let go of what's in your hand for God to give you what's in His, you know. And we kind of like, no, I've birthed this thing. I'm one of the originators of what we know it to be now, and I have to let it go. And then
Yeah,
once it's gone, trying to find your identity again. Like, man, is my identity truly in Christ, or is my part of my identity in that? And maybe it is, and maybe that's not a bad thing. Like, that's what we're used to. That's a part of you. That's your baby, man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's a bad thing, but it gets to the point of where it would become a problem if God says to lay it down and you say no. I
that's
built
right.
this thing. I'm gonna see it through to the end, and then God takes His hand off of it. He's not blessing it anymore, and then Tre9 steps up to the plate to try to see this thing through and finish it out. And then you find where like a lot of people started out in a place that's beautiful and
Yeah.
innocent. They end in a place that, like, man, I can't believe that happened to him, and man, look what happened. And that's what, like, our, I guess we can look at the secular industry or entertainers and stuff. They start out there, but then they end in a place that's just bad, man. We're like, man, can we at once have like a good ending to one of these stories? And when you try to take it out, when you try to take it upon your own and do it yourself, when God says no, it's gonna end in failure every time, man. You know,
Yeah, man.
idolatry essentially, man.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong when you're hearing God speak through His Spirit to let something go that you want to hang on to so bad. You're so passionate about. You think your talent, you know, is still relevant and all that. You know, it wasn't hard for me, man. It really wasn't. It was my family was much more important. My wife's health was much more important, and I felt like I could live it out through Pyrex. Like, you
Yeah,
know what, the rap part, man. Look at what I could do here.
yeah,
Be much bigger than anything I've ever done as a rapper. And I felt like I was able to do that. And I think Pyrex stands on his own too today. You know, I don't think he needs a Tre9 uh, musically. He's already talked to some of the biggest names in Christian hip hop, and he's already, you know, knows how to do a Christian. He knows what Christian hip hop is and the records, and whatever he does from here, it's his grown man decision. Um, and so it was easy for me to do it, man. And I think if you position yourself right, uh, and just continue to say, God, lead, direct my path. I'm going to acknowledge you in all my ways. I'm not going to lean towards my own understanding. I'm just going to trust you. My heart, my motives, keep them pure. Allow me to, if I say I'm about ministry, allow me to stay in that lane. If I say I'm going to do this for industry purpose, allow me to tote that line without losing myself in it. I think God will honor that. And if you keep people around you who are solid and rooted, and you got to be careful. You may have a mentor that's controlling. He could be a
yeah,
controlling jerk. He could take you off your path.
yep,
He could say, "Oh, you're worshiping, you know, your gift," um, just because he may be jealous or he don't want to see you rock. Like, you got to be careful who your mentors are. But if you have a person in your life that's pouring down into you, and then you have a sideline of people who are rooting you on and encouraging you, and then you have a downline of people you're pouring into, it's a healthy balance, and you can't help but win. God is going to honor that every single
yeah.
time.
I agree, man. We're going to jump to these phone lines right quick. We got a couple people here. I'm going to jump to this caller from Northwest Arkansas. I believe I know who this is. Caller, who we speaking with?
You don't hear me now?
What up? Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm sorry, I can't hear anything on my phone for some reason.
You're a little low, Truth Seeker, but
okay.
You got a little lower when we came back to video.
Okay. Yeah, something's up.
All right.
It's probably listening from a delay.
Like, I'm hearing y'all on the video. I can hear Truth Seeker. I can hear you right now on the phone, but I can't hear Truth Seeker through my phone right now for some reason.
Well, I hear you loud and clear, man. Do you got a question or a comment?
Yeah, I got a couple things I want to say. I remember, I just want to start off by saying, because I know Truth made the comment earlier about, hold on a second. Sorry, I can probably mute you here because I was still trying to hear Truth speak to me at the same time. So
yeah, he's a little low right now.
Sorry, yeah. So I was gonna say that he made a comment earlier about me, about someone calling in, asking about getting the tattoos and all that to look like them to try to get them. And that was something I had actually did. Was a month ago he did a podcast with Illuminate, and I had called in and I had said something along the lines of, because what for me it was so the first time I got introduced to Pyrex was when I saw the Teach Me Your Ways video 5 years ago when that had dropped. About that time, that was when I had gotten kicked out of my apartment and had moved back in with my parents due to some dumb decisions I made when I was trying to go to secular rap. And so it was the stuff like that. Praying, I had all them, but I still could connect with them because they felt like they were holy rollers to me. But what got me was Pyrex's line, his whole verse right there, because to me it's like, here's a guy, he wants to follow God, but he's still like every day, which is not what I was.
Mm-hmm.
And still am at the time. Like, I do my best to follow God, but I still struggle. Like we all do, because we're human. It's like we're not perfect beings, but we know that with God on our side, we can do almost anything usually. And so that was a interesting thing to point out. Like, I still want to get the tattoos, because that's just something that always fascinated me. And so I still want to get tattoos, but yeah, that was something I had said at one time.
Well, you know, that Teach Me Your Ways was definitely, God had his hand on that, because a lot of people say what you just said. A lot of people tell me, you know, that video. Can we delete this this FaceTime phone call, Truth Seeker? Because we're not on the FaceTime audio anymore, right?
No, we are.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
But we're on video separate. Okay. Okay. So that video showed Pyrex before he had surrendered his life to Christ. Pyrex was not fully. Well, actually, he was on the journey, and I told him, no, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't even a Christian at that time. So I had told him, I said, bro, I met up with him in McDonald's. I said, look, man, I know you're still in the streets. You're still living that life. I want you to rap about why you won't give your life to Christ. I've been on this journey with you in prison. You get out, you go back to the streets, even though you know you could be rocking with me, you know you could be serving God, but you choose to go to that lifestyle. And I want you to write a verse that tells me why you do that. And so it was so authentic and genuine, because that's really where he was at the time. And I was coming in as kind of the mentor and the minister, saying, I hear you, I feel you, I relate. I know you don't want to be that person. And that's why that song was so powerful, because it was so transparent and real. And we really didn't have a song like that at all in Christian hip hop. So I'm glad it touched you and related to you. You know, you're one amongst many, and it makes me proud every time I hear stuff like that. So thanks for letting us know. If you want tattoos, man, I don't think anybody's, nowadays it's a fad. It's cultural. I don't think anybody looks, now if you put it on your face, it might affect some job situations, but at the end of the day, you know, tats don't make or break you. You know, I don't have no tats on my face, and I sit with some of the hardest of criminals, G's, everything, and they love me and they respect me, and I don't have a tat on my body. So don't let that be the reason why. Let it be because, you know, it's some part of your life that you just want to have branded on you.
Yeah, because it was, I think it was either that whole year I saw a video or right after I saw the video, sometime at that point, because I think after when I got sick, when we checked the break a little bit, and then I came back doing a Christian hip hop under a different moniker. And I did several mixtapes, and then I just dropped my debut album, which after the research I did have was when you were talking earlier about sorry, I'm not trying to take too long, I'll make this quick as possible. When it comes to trying to financially produce a project of any sort, what tips would you have that you might be able to put on that to where it's like you're not having to cut off like their bills or the lights or the water or anything? Because I remember I talked to another artist about this the other day. He said you may have to go without water. I'm like, there's gotta be a better way.
It's that weird dichotomy, huh?
True Seeker, you're very low. I think that's why
Check.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
There you go. You got a little better there.
Better there?
Well, that's because you got closer, but yeah, you're still a little low. Man, look, I'm just gonna say that there are so many digital programs that True Seeker could probably tell you about that make recording much easier. If you get if you invest $800, $1,000 in your mic system, $1,000 in your mic system, your mic and your preamp, that would be wise. And then put that screen around it. Whenever you're at, that's wise investments that in the long term are going to pay off if you can't afford this studio time. But there's a lot of digital stuff you could do now to get good, clean, quality sound without having to pay a fortune.
All right, thanks for the call, Hunter. Can you hear me at all, Trey?
I hear you. I just turned up my volume.
Okay. All right, we got another call here from Texas. All right, who are we speaking with in Texas?
Right now, I am an artist that is currently uprising out of Dallas because there isn't really a big scene here when it comes to music like it is in California or New York or wherever. I mean, there's a scene, but when it comes to reaching out for help and mentorship, especially when you're trying to make positive music, you're not trying to make trash on the radio. They keep perpetuating systems that don't help humanity. There are not a lot of people who are on this wave right now. And so for me, I know that, I don't make what Timberland or what Lecrae makes when it comes to money and music right now. So I have to do what I can afford, and I have to stay in my lane. And so what I do is I get secondhand equipment. And so I usually will go to like a thrift store and, I find instruments there. I go to garage sales. I go to Craigslist. I go secondhand apps, all of that. You can get all of these things cheaply. And if you really want to make a name for yourself and for your...
Hello? That was kind of weird. Can you hear me, Trey?
I hear you.
That was
kind of lower than him, but I hear you. Yeah, I agree. I think you're doing the right thing, man. By investing in, gear to where you can record at home. Now, as far as the community, are you doing positive rap, or would you consider it Christian hip hop?
For me, I'm not a rapper. I'm a singer. So I try to rap, but it's not working out for me. So I just found where I fit in, basically, and that's with my voice, because I've always sung in church, and I was the worship leader for a minute, and, when I was doing worship, that was really like an outlet for me.
Is your music Christian music, or is it just positive, clean?
Right now, I tried to do the clean music. I put an album out in 2016 on Spotify and iTunes and all that. And it was a positive album, but it was not what I expected. And, I had to go back down to my roots because my roots are in church and in Christianity. And that's where I satisfied my soul. and the souls of other beings. And I was just like, I wonder why, you know, when I sing Christian music, people are more emotionally responsive, spiritually responsive than when I sing things just about, you know, be happy and, you know, keep your energy right. No, you gotta, it goes deeper. It's a lot of these things are, you know, we think they're kind of shallow, but they go a lot deeper. And so I went back over time, mainly through 2017, and I had a lot of pain in my heart, you know, about the church and this past experiences and things like that. But on this journey that I'm on right now, I began to realize not only who I am, but God is within me. And I began to realize, you know, a lot of people claim that they can sing and they have talents and things like that. But ever since I was a child, I have known that I had these talents. No one's ever taught me these things, you know.
Okay, do you have a response for that, Trey?
I
I don't know if they got cut off or not, but
I mean, you're doing. You did a positive album and didn't get the same response that you get from when you do a Christian singing album. I would say, you know, I guess the other one was kind of an R&B inspirational, and say this one, you know, is now you're going back to your roots, doing Christian music. Of course, you're going to get a better response because you have more venues. I always say, like, there's not a lot of venues for the positive artists, you know. I mean, but if you're doing Christian now, there's so many churches, there's so many platforms for that. And so from an industry perspective, choose. Are you gonna go along with the world and put filth in your music and promote lust and promote the things of the world? Or are you gonna sing for the Lord to where people are able to worship with your music or be inspired spiritually by your music, you know? Because that middle area, that gray area, that positive area, that's a hard line to tote, and it's very hard to be an independent artist and find your lane for that. Some do, but very few find it. And so that's probably what you're experiencing, man. And
yeah,
I would just encourage you to follow your heart.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's definitely hard to get out there and do shows with doing positive music because like I said, I'm in a weird place right with that too because mine's more of the positive stuff. Like I don't I don't call it gospel, right? Because it's not just like every song isn't about the gospel or whatever. I'm a Christian, but so every song is from a Christian perspective. I'll say that, but but I touch on things that you know what I'm saying we can't talk about in the church or we don't talk about in the church. And then on the secular side, I'm too positive. I got too much Jesus, too much spirituality in my music to be at a trap show or be at the shows where they're getting crunk. And here I come talking about being a good person, spirituality, meditation, things like that. They don't want to hear that at those type of shows. So to find that lane, especially in the South, it's even harder. Everybody's doing trap music and drug music and things like that. So, but you can find the lane online, and you know what I'm saying, the whole niche and people who resonate with that type of music and people who are looking for it will find it. So I do have a nice fan base. I do have a pretty good following. But as far as getting out there doing shows, it does become a little bit more harder, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. That's but you know, if you're an artist and you love music and this is your passion, this is your craft, then follow your heart and do what you love. You know, this is where artistry comes in. I mean, you know, painters, I don't think they go into it like, all right, I'm gonna paint this painting and this is gonna blow up. You know, this is gonna make me famous. I think they just express from their heart and they paint a picture. And I think they get fulfillment out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Artists, you got two types, right? You got the artists that like, man, I'm just expressing myself. This is therapy for me.
Yeah.
And then you got artists that are like, I'm gonna make a career of this, and this is what I'm gonna do. And I got talent, so I'm gonna make it happen. I mean, I lean on the side of, especially now, of being an artist, and this is expression for me, and I can reach and touch some lives with it. and then maybe you're just very good at doing both, like we've seen from a lot of artists. I mean, Lecrae is making the transition to try and relate more
Yeah.
to the environment, and so I think you're going to hear a lot more positivity. But I don't think he'll lose himself in it, and I think it's fine that he's going to pave that lane for guys like yourself who people will say, you know what, I'm open to this new style of music where they ain't promoting drugs and money and
Yeah.
sex and arrogance, but they ain't talking about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I think there's a lane being paved, and I would say Lecrae is kind of paved in that way.
He is. Yeah, definitely, man. There's pros and cons to the whole that whole sacred secular divide thing, you know? I don't think it's as black and white as we try to make it, and I think that's why people have a problem with just like Christian, non-Christian. Like, well, yes and no. There's more to it. It's a little bit more complex than just being gospel or secular type stuff too, you know. And I think Lecrae is kind of paving that road. I'm gonna take this next caller. We got a caller here from California. Caller, who we speaking with?
Hello?
Yo, can you hear me?
Hello?
This is Tre9, man. I hear you. I think y'all are having trouble hearing Truth Seeker, but yeah, man. What's your comment or your question?
Okay, maybe they can't. Okay, I think I know what happened. Yeah, they're not able to hear. I guess they're not able to hear us on the chat, so we'll cut that out. But yeah, anyway, man, it's been.
Truth Seeker, I could hear the guy.
I could too, but I don't think he could hear us talking.
No, he could hear me. He just couldn't hear you.
Okay, try it again.
Hello?
Yeah, you there? Yeah,
Hello?
Go ahead, man. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I'm here. Yeah, all right. Yeah. So, I really haven't. I'm afraid that's crazy or whatever. But there's this number that's been following me, and it's the 30. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello? Hello? Yeah. So this number's been following me in literally everything, and I tried to ignore it for so many years, and now it's just like ridiculous. It's like literally in everything I do. Every turn I make, I'm synchronized with the number 33 and 13. And I don't know what it means. And so people are telling me that it has something to do with Christ, but I'm not sure.
Can he hear you, Truth Seeker?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me, bro?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, Truth Seeker. We're gonna comment on that when he hangs up, because when he hangs up, he seems to be able to come through the line, but when he's on the phone, we can't hear him. So
Okay, you can hear me.
I hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm trying to read the comments and stuff here too. Some people are saying that they can hear me. Some people can't. It's kind of weird. I don't know what's up with this technology. Anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for supporting my work and what I'm doing. And this is why it's important, because I got to get a new system. Like, there's so much being ran on the back end that my computer can't handle it. And so thank you guys for supporting my work and what I'm doing. And I'm about to make an upgrade, so bear with me so we don't have more of these complications and all this kind of stuff. So we're trying to figure it out as we go, and that's part of it. I think that that kind of just that whole phrase, figuring out as we go, I think that's why discipleship is important, and what Tre9 brings to the table when it comes to the ministry and industry side of it. It's not a bad thing that you're involved in the industry side of it. You better be able to balance the two, because if you don't, it's going to balance you, and you're not going to know what to do, and you're going to let people take advantage of you, and there is money, and all of this stuff it comes into play. So there's some people out there who are doing it the right way, and they're successful at it. I don't know if I want to say everybody's meant to do it full time, but there's steps that you need to take, and you have to make sure that are in place before you just quit your job and just try to do music full time or ministry for that. And I know there's many people who want to do it, but make sure you do your research. Make sure that it's something that that it's God's perfect will for your life. And if it is, man, all you could do is hang on to every word he says, man. He'll make it happen, man. He is your provider. He'll definitely take care of you. I'm in that position right now. Like I wanted to do this. I didn't think it was coming this quick. I wanted to have a safety net. I wanted to have as much support that I wouldn't have to worry and wonder how bills were going to get paid. But, you know, my father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills, man. He's never let me down. And so we're just running with that. It's working. It's working. So thank you guys for the support. It means a lot. You can support at patreon.com/truthseeker. And you get all kind of cool stuff as well, music and extra podcast episodes and stuff like that. Tre9, give your information out, dude, how they can contact you, check out your work and your new music that you're coming out with as well.
Sure. You can, social media, Instagram is Tre9 online. The ministry is Eyes on Me Inc. That's Eyes on Me INC. You can look those up on both Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, I have a fan page, which is just Tre9, TRE, the number 9, and then I have Tre to the 9, TOTHENINE. If you hit me on Facebook, it's Tre, TRE, and the last name to the 9. We also have, I'd encourage y'all to go to muchloverecords.com. We got a phenomenal artist. Much Love is under new ownership, but I still maintain a small percentage. And one of the guys that is just first one signed to the label, kind of the revival of the label is Austin Lanier, and A-Train Lanier is his Instagram. But he just dropped an album. Love for y'all to check it out and support muchloverecords.com or austinlanier.com. You can contact me directly on our website, eyesonmeinc.com. That's eyesonmeinc.com. You can hit me there. And just, happy to be a part, man. I pray that you find, whoever it is out there, you find your purpose in life, walk in it, and enjoy it. Live every day like there ain't no tomorrow, because we ain't promised tomorrow.
Amen. Thanks for hanging out with me, Tre. Appreciate you, bro.
God bless you.
Your ass so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the Truth Seeker podcast, head over to truthseeker.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/truthseeker.